Hi, welcome to another episode of Balanced Act. So I wanted to talk really quick about a concept I picked up just recently on control. I picked it up from the Joe Rogan Experience, one of his later episodes, and he was interviewing a friend of his who's a expert bow hunter and instructor. And he talked about closed loop thinking and open loop thinking within stressful situations. So he compared it to being a martial artist, which I am. And being a martial artist, when you're learning a closed loop kind of mentality versus an open loop type of mentality when you're actually performing the art, like in a fight or in a sparring match or so forth. So, well, first of all, let me explain a little bit about open loop versus closed loop. So open loop thinking is more like kind of an automatic way of thinking, like following your instincts or so forth and so forth. You know, it feels good. You go into a kind of a flow state, and you can imagine like maybe being a basketball player. When you're playing basketball, you know, when you're actually playing basketball, you really don't think about what you're doing, right? You just kind of do it. You may think a little bit like, all right, I'm going to go to the left and then I'm going to, fake off to the right and shoot a shot or pass it or whatever, right? But when you're actually playing and performing the movements, you don't think about that at all. You just do what you do, you react. You're running off an instinct, you shoot the shot, you may or may not make it. But he was saying when you bow hunt, if you think that way, which is an open loop way of thinking, then you're just not going to perform well. So he was saying you have to think more in a closed loop kind of way, which is kind of how we learn. You know, like when somebody else is giving us instruction, we think in a very closed loop way. Like, says, okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to pick up the bow, and I want you to take it, and I want you to pull it back slowly, slowly, slowly. You know, as somebody talks you through the motions of doing something and you're just following their voice. That's a closed loop way of thinking. But the thing is, instead of someone else talking to you and telling you how to do something, you're talking to yourself within your own head. So you're like, all right, so what I want you to do is pick up the gun, point the gun, hold on the trigger, and I pull the trigger slowly, 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 that kind of thing. So how can this help us? Well, what Joe Rogan was picking up on, which was I picked up on as well, was that this is useful, this type of way of thinking is useful outside of firearms or bow hunting. You know, a closed loop way of thinking is a great way to handle yourself and control yourself during moments of anxiety. So what I picked up on, and what he was also explaining, was that you can use this in almost any situation where you feel like anxiety or pressure is taking over you. So the way I looked at it was like this, for example. So let's say if you're in a stressful situation, like maybe you're in an argument and somebody's in your face and you're arguing with them, right? And the argument happened all of a sudden. And so now your instinct might be to just react. Just defend yourself, react, maybe run away, maybe fight back by arguing back with this person. You know, you go in your autonomic nervous system, and you just react, fight, flight, or flee. You know, fight, flight, or freeze rather, and so you might just go ahead and have that kind of reaction. But now, that's the open loop thinking. But now, let's say if you can close loop that, let's say you could talk yourself through that, so you can be like, okay, Juan, this person is yelling at you right now. So what I want you to do, so now you basically talk to yourself as if you're someone else. So it's like, okay, even within a situation. And then you're like, okay, what I want you to do is this. I want you to take a step back, breathe in deep, put your hands behind your back, look the person in the eye, listen to what they're saying, and do not react until you hear what they're saying. Once they're done, then you react, and you react in a calm, sober way. So you basically just talk yourself through what you're going to do, and then you do that, you continue that while you do it. So it says, okay, now I want you just to tell them that you understand. So then you say that to yourself, and then you say it to the person, like as if you're following someone else's instruction. So now he says, okay, now I want you to tell them that you understand. So then you say, okay. So you look at the person, okay, I understand. And then you say, okay, now I want you to look down at your feet for a moment. Okay, look down at my feet for a moment. Reestablish eye contact. Okay, and now get your side of the story calmly. Okay, you give your side of the story. You see? So that's what you do within that kind of stressful situation. So you could talk yourself through the actions. And so I just think that's brilliant. Like you could imagine that in traffic, instead of just reacting in traffic, getting pissed off, start switching up lanes, speeding, tailgating, all that shit, cursing people out in your head. Instead of doing all that and reacting to your anxiety, you could say, okay, traffic's heavy, people are driving a little crazy, so you want to switch lanes. Okay, so what I want you to do is look in your side view mirror, okay, look in your rear view. Once this car passes, I want you to get over. Okay, great. Now breathe in, all right, let it out, just drive forward, go to 55 miles per hour here, and then you're gonna get over the middle lane before this light, so you can get over to the right lane before the next light and make your right hand turn. So all those actions that you would have just taken automatically and maybe been cursing people out, flipping people off, and whatever, how you react in traffic, road raging it up, feeling like shit, these motherfuckers out here, they can't drive, la, la, la. You can just talk yourself through the motions of the actions that you're going to do and save yourself a lot of trouble, a lot of anxiety, and who knows, maybe not get into an accident because you're out there road raging. So I think that's really, really useful. And so I picked up on that. I wanted to talk about that real quick. I think that it has a lot of application, obviously, in a very practical way. It comes from a very practical place, but also in a very spiritual way, too. I think with this idea of closed loop and open loop thinking, I believe that you can really start to control yourself in every situation. There's basically nothing you can do, nothing you can or cannot do, with that kind of thought process. Because you could imagine, like, if you can imagine to basically think of yourself as a separate person and then talk yourself, you can talk yourself through any situation. Because you can imagine, like, if you're dealing with someone who's in a stressful situation, but you're not stressed about that situation at all, and now you can tell this person what to do, coach them through it, and you're going to coach, and they listen to you, you can coach them through to success. So now you are that person. You are the person that you are coaching. And I think that's incredible. Imagine yourself at a job interview and you're nervous as hell and you're thinking, oh my God, how's my hair look? Does my hair look okay? Is the shirt all right? Oh no, like, does he looking at my tattoo? Or, is the shirt wrinkled? Do I have any stains on it? All that's going through your head. Instead of all that going through your head and you freaking out and you're sitting there at the interview nervous as hell, trying to smile at the right time and this and that, negative speak going through your head, like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this. Instead of that, what could be going through your head is, okay, Juan, so here's a person that's going to interview you. I want you to look at them in the eye. I want you to smile, shake their hand, and ask them how they're doing. Now sit down. Now listen to what they got to say, and go from there. There you go. And you're just talking your way through it. You're talking yourself through the interview. Think about that this weekend. Think about how you can apply that into your own life. Do some research on it. Open loop, closed loop thinking. I wish I remember the gentleman's name that Joe Rogan was interviewing, but maybe you can look him up as well. I know it's one of the later episodes. He just came out with it. I think it's the latest episode at the time of me recording this. And he's a bow hunter basically. So look out for a Joe Rogan episode with a bow hunter. So, at any rate, have a great weekend. Thank you for watching. May you find the right path between the practical and metaphysical ways of teaching and ways of living, and find your own balanced path to your own happiness and well-being. Thank you once again.